Geico presents Our Town, Season 4, a 30-minute podcast produced by Best Bark Communications, a small but fierce client-centered marketing company powered by decades of experience and well-established business networks. Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Now, here's your host, Andy Ockershausen.
This is Our Town. This is Andy Ockershausen, and I am so delighted. I say that because I mean it. To talk head-to-head, person-to-person, with a man that I've listened to on the radio for so long and has the most memorable voice, and that is a supreme compliment, Neal Augenstein.
Thank you, Andy. Has it really been that long that you've been listening? You really, it really sounded like it's been years and years and years.
Well, it has been, because I've been around a long time. Look, I grew up in the radio and television business, but and my love has always been radio. Mm-hmm. And voices are so important to me and so important to talent. And boy, and you have an enormous talent, and one of them is your voice.
Well, thank you.
And you know that.
Well, to be honest, it's actually a miracle that I'm even on the air. I spent so much time in my career having bosses tell me you don't belong on the radio. I had when I started here at TOP in 1997, I had a lisp. And I couldn't say the letters L, and I couldn't say the letters S. And one of the things that Jim Farley did before he would hire me full time is he said, "I'm going to send you to a voice coach." And he sent me to Ann Utterback, who
I heard that name.
Sure, she's the
you
voice
were
coach.
Probably fortunate that Farley recognized your talent and then wanted to expand on it, then rather than just let you go. He's an amazing man.
I was very lucky that he made. I considered it an investment in me. I also worked for a couple of years with a speech pathologist who helped make it a little easier for me to say those S's and L's. And even to this day, I have to think about it when I say them. But thankfully, I guess I had other talents or other tools that in storytelling that were able to compensate.
Well, I compliment you on the ability. I don't want to say storytelling so much as that you sell what you're covering by emphasizing it. And I notice that, and I appreciate it so much. I know your work, and I know how busy you are, but you still sell that story.
Well, thank you. I mean, and really, storytelling is just what we do. I mean, reporters have to boil things down to make it so anybody can understand it. In fact, when I started in this business, or actually before I started in this business, I went to American University and got a degree in broadcast journalism. And I realized that I really did not like politics, and I thought to myself, I must be in the wrong business,
in the wrong city,
certainly
that's for
in
sure.
the wrong city. Eventually, when I got the chance to do some news, I thought to myself, you really don't know very much about politics, and you're not that interested in it. But if I could figure out the simple things, if I could understand something, if I could ask enough questions, and so I could understand a concept, it would be something that I could pass along to the audience. And so that's sort of what I've tried to do. I don't mind looking like an idiot in asking my question, if I can come away from there being a temporary expert on whatever it is that
you're representing that listener who doesn't have all the knowledge that you have, obviously,
sure.
And you're trying to explain it to him. The first time I really remember an impact about you, there was a meeting of I was with Comcast way back with the Sports Network, and we were having a seance or something over at Connecticut Avenue, Chevy Chase Bank, in one of their rooms there, and you were speaker, and the room was full of young people in the broadcast business just coming up. And I remember so much your delivery and your speaking to these young people and handling them so nice. Here I am, I think I'm smart, Evie, because I know everything, only because I've been alive a long time. But you handled it so beautifully, Neal.
Thank you. I talking to people who, so many people have questions, as you know, about the radio business, and it's so lucky to be a part of a station that's doing well, and to be able to share how lucky I am to be able to tell stories and learn things and hold and put questions to people in power. That's really I'm very lucky to be able to do that, and every day it's fun to come to work. So that's
that is the secret of life: getting up and loving what you're doing, Neal. And you obviously love your job and love what you're doing. What were you doing before you discovered this radio phenomenon? Before AU?
Before AU, I grew up in Connecticut. I was a kid who went to high school. I listened to the rock and roll. The first radio station I ever went to was a station that probably admired WMAL. It was an all-service station back in Connecticut. I just found it fascinating to look at all of the gadgets. I listened as a kid to Marv Albert doing play-by-play.
Oh my! What a talent!
What a great storyteller there. The music I listened to was WABC in New York.
Radio 77.
Yep, exactly. It's when you listen to it even today, it still gives you a thrill. But I went to college at AU, a degree in broadcast journalism, and
did you take AU for broadcast? Did you pick it out, or did it just happen?
Well, I came down here to live. A girlfriend at the time was going to Georgetown, so I wanted to be in the same city, and AU was had a good broadcasting school, good communication school. So I really did learn, I think, a lot of things that I still call upon these days, not as much from the technical or the broadcasting, the mechanics of broadcasting, but more the strategies and the mindset and the importance of things like fairness and consistency and taste and being objective. Those were the classes that I remembered the most, and which I think I call upon the most these days.
Well, you prove it because you do it in your reporting, and I hear it all the time. I would share with you my AU experience. One of my professors was Fred Fisk.
Wow.
Remember Freddie?
Sure.
His talk show?
Yeah.
I'll never forget. He taught us how to pronunciate. But anyway, I loved AU. I love the school and everything going on there. Fortunately, now I live in the neighborhood, but that school has expanded so greatly, Neal. I mean, it's an incredible campus now.
Yeah. It's when I drive through and drive by. I mean, it's expanding.
Oh my! Going up, going out.
On the other side of Nebraska Avenue and all the way down toward Wisconsin, and they're doing big things. They're aiming high and they're achieving.
And they're hitting a mark too. I know my friend built that museum there. He passed on, but that's a beautiful site for the school, isn't it? That museum,
sure
Katzen.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cy Katzen. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to come back, Neal, and not come back because we ain't going anywhere. But I want to talk to you about your career in the scientific world and what you have brought to Washington and WTOP. This is Our Town with Andy Ockershausen and the inimitable Neal Augenstein.
Technology Truth, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truth.
Truth. You have 14 login passwords, and you can't remember any of them.
Doug 1. Doug 2. Doug is awesome. Doug is awesome 1, 2, 3. Truth.
Truth. It's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at geico.com.
Doug is super cool &_ exclamation point 1985. Knew it.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
This is Attorney Mike Collins. Come to my seminar and I'll explain in plain English all you need to know about wills, trusts, taxes, probate, and how to keep your money in your family. I'll show you how to eliminate those dread death taxes and avoid the expense and delay of probate. See how our reservoir trust can protect your family's inheritance from lawsuits and the divorce court. Thousands of your neighbors have already attended. So watch the mail for your special invitation and register now at MikeCollins.com. That's MikeCollins.com.
You're listening to Our Town with Andy Ockershausen. Brought to you by Best Bark Communications.
This is Andy Ockershausen with Neal Augenstein. I was telling Neal, it might be Vienna, Virginia, and it could be North Beach, Maryland, and it could be Vienna, it could be anywhere, but it's Our Town because they're connected to WTOP. And that's why I love it, because you guys are such a powerful. The AM signal was unbelievable. And then they got FM. They found that AM didn't work anymore.
Well, this is the move to FM. I think was one of the biggest biggest pushes that toward TOP's success. I was just talking about it yesterday with the Rotary Club, but the fact that TOP. An all news station went on FM. You remember that was groundbreaking. That
it was incredible.
And not only that was on FM, that Bonneville put it on their best signal. On 103.5, so and that took WGMS off the air, and but that was really an investment in the importance of news.
I was so sure that was the greatest investment there could have been, because that's where the people were going to FM. Mm-hmm. You know, when I started many years ago, FM was a little sidebar, but now I find out very few people under the age of 40 have ever know what an AM station is. They never listen to anything but FM their whole lives. That's startling. It sure kicked me out of the business. But anyway, I'm glad.
Well, but a lot of that's going to change with listening, with streaming online, and soon people will be listening, just as much on their in their cars on the streaming, and hopefully we'll meet them there, and that's sort of what one of the things that TOP's tried to do is to meet listeners wherever they are, and that's either on.
Well, that's what you were doing when you were sort of you took over as editor reporter to bring them up to date on all the technology.
Well, yeah, when WTOP what was it, 5 or 6 years ago, I guess, I helped. Launched the WTOP Tech section, which was a section on the website, and I got to spend a bunch of time learning and reporting on things like social media and consumer technology, the Internet of Things, all of these technical things that have to do with somebody's smartphone, and that really are changing the way that a lot of us live our lives. So that was an interesting that was a chance to spend some time doing that. I'm not sure if you knew it. I think you did. That in 2010 I started doing all of my reporting out in the field with just my iPhone.
Amazing.
There were some that came after the invention of multi-track audio editing apps, which let me do, interview somebody and then edit their sound bites and record my
right
part,
there in your hand,
mix it all together, and send it back to the newsroom. And that really, I think that really transformed, because think of what we were doing before that. We had laptops, and we're carrying a digital camera. We were carrying a little video camera. And every time you did an interview, you had to wait and reboot the computer and transfer things and mix it on the audio, the digital audio editing. But with the iPhone, you could just do everything on one single device, and so I coined it iPhone reporting. And next time you're at the museum, if I may blow my own horn for 1 second, go down to the basement by the cafeteria, and you'll see one of my first iPhones that's there in the museum.
I love
in the
it.
Museum. And
now, have you gotten the new one now that costs $88 million?
No, I have not. I'm a traditionalist, Andy. I don't want to. I don't want to spend everything on all the new gadgets. But my iPhone 7 is what I use now in the field, and
it works.
It works.
You do a beautiful job.
Thank you.
And you are interested in your subject, and it shows. And you're interested, and you sell the news. You're talking about being a traditionalist. I'll drop a name. I was talking to the chief of police of Montgomery County. I know you know him well, Magner.
Sure.
And I said, what are you still running around with these colonel's bars on your shoulder? He said, I'm a traditionalist. I'm never going to put those stars on. I said, you feel like you're at a Pentagon here with all these people.
I never noticed that. Now I'm going to have to look at the next time.
Look at what he's wearing. He's the only one that you see now that doesn't have all the stars. He's a terrific guy, too. I know you know that.
Sure, he is. He is I worked with Tom Manger even back when he was in Fairfax County, and we had some great conversations. Of course, I supported him when he came over to Montgomery County, and
he's a real guy,
really, really good guy.
Well, this is our town, and Andy Ockershausen, and I'm talking to Neal Augenstein. Now that we've gotten to police and police work, I want to come back after the break here and talk about the police and the police work and what's going on in our town.
Hi, Tony Sybil here to tell you about Tony and Joe's and Nick's Riverside Grill at Washington Harbor in Georgetown. Spectacular new restaurants. We've spent a lot of time rebuilding. You'll love it. It's really fantastic. For any information, you can go online to tonyandjoes.com. It'll be a wonderful experience for the whole family. Call 202-944-4545 to make reservations. Everything is fabulous. You got to come down and have some wonderful food.
Hi, I'm Charles Mann. For athletes like me, playing every down in a pro game is like getting in a car accident. After years of playing football in Washington, my body is broken. I've had countless surgeries and joint replacements. I've been looking for a non-surgical treatment since I ended my career. I heard a radio ad for a seminar about alternative treatment. It's called regenerative medicine, which stimulates your own body to heal and repair itself. No surgery, no more pain. That got my attention. I went to a seminar to learn firsthand all about it. Now you too can benefit and receive this treatment. This is the same procedure that pro athletes use to quickly and effectively recover from injury. If you're looking to eliminate your pain and arthritis, or if you thought surgery was your only option, take the first step like I did. Call 410-787-7250. Register for the next seminar and learn more about this breakthrough procedure. Seating is limited. Register now by calling 410-787-7250 and start living life again.
You're listening to Our Town with Andy Ockershausen.
This is Andy Ockershausen and talking to Neal Augenstein. I'm sorry I've been mispronouncing Neal's name. I know he'll forgive me because I grew up with Ockershausen. Nobody can spell it either.
You haven't been mispronouncing it. You've been halfwaying it. That's something that I do as a reporter all the time is pronounce a word or a name halfway. If I'm not sure exactly how
get close to it,
I get it somewhere in the middle, and that usually works out all right.
Neal, your work as the capital city of the world, as I call it, has been incredible, and your news coverage here is unbelievable. There's so much going on in our town. There's political news, of course. Then you got the military and the defense, but then we got the people that live here and the city government. And I'm stunned that they can't get a hold of this shooting barrage.
Well,
I know you cover it every day.
Well, covering crime is something that's. I mean, you know the old adage: if it bleeds, it leads. Well, we don't really believe that here, but unfortunately, violent crime is a big part of people's lives, and obviously, everyone who has a family wants to minimize it as much as they can. So, as part of what we do is we have to tell, some of the realities about what are happening in our town, and so that involves crime reporting. And sometimes, I think that's actually one of the challenges because when you hear about a heinous crime, and if you look online, there's this this rallying cry. We've got to punish the person. We've got to do something about it. But often that happens before a person's ever been put on trial. And my job as a reporter is to talk to both prosecutors and the defense. And I've been talking. I've talked with the lawyers for the Beltway snipers leading up to the trial. I mean, of course, these were guys who everyone was convinced that they were guilty, and ultimately they were found to be guilty. But in covering something like that, I'm not allowed to indicate that I think that somebody is guilty. It's my responsibility as a reporter to give somebody the benefit of a doubt, Obviously, I don't turn a blind eye to what's happening or to evidence that
you're human. You have feelings, right? Absolutely.
But my goal and my job is to sort of look at something as unbiasedly as I can, and sometimes I succeed at that, and sometimes
you do a great job with it, Neal.
Thanks.
And it's tough for you, and there's so many stories that I'm trying to reach for. This lady from the ACLU has done a great job with the speech. They're talking about what are the basis, but I am personally convinced that the police cannot stop this. That the police have tried for years. They try all kinds of things. The public has got to. And I don't know how they do that, Neal, but there's so many people that know things that are afraid to come forward. They're scared to death.
That is a reality. I mean,
it's the way it is on the street.
Yeah, I think that in all the jurisdictions in our area, it's important to earn the trust of people on the street, because that's the way a lot of crimes are solved. Is through a tip, and even people who don't want to share information because they're afraid of what
retribution,
what will mean to them. But police really do need those sort of contributions from the public.
No, I noticed that our murder rate this year is climbed extraordinarily over last year, and still going up, I'm sure. But again, the public and the people have got to help to do something about it. And you've helped with your reporting. But now this thing is going on with the mansion murders, as they're called. And it's tough not to have any thought. But he's guilty. But he's got to go through the trial. I mean, they haven't proved it to the jury yet. The jury is still out. Until they do, there's going to be some doubt, and there are always people with doubt. And that's an interesting story.
And that's the thing, Andy. The as difficult as some of these trials are, and as horrendous as the crimes are, I'm comforted that through in my 20 years in the business, it seems like the legal system, as flawed as it is, that it seems to get it right most of the time.
Correct.
And obviously, I'm not blind to the fact that it's the legal system is more blind toward some people than others, and again, the legal system isn't perfect, but I do think that by and large, by the time cases get through criminal courts and maybe a civil case if there's a lawsuit. Usually by the time things shake out, in my opinion, they got them about right.
Yeah, well, I respect your opinion. The fact that you follow these things, it's not casual to you. It's basically what you are, is to cover these stories and be fair. And you try to do that. I know you do, Neal. And so do your compatriots. WTOP has built such a fabulous newsroom and a fabulous reputation. And we're all, one of the reasons that we're listeners, we have to be, because you got everything we want. They got news, weather, even got some sports now. Thank God, At one time, you carried Maryland football way back, Neal.
Sure.
And when Larry Israel took over and said, we're going to go all news, he called me and said, I'm giving up Maryland football. Call them because you can get it now. We're not going to carry it anymore.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way it was very close. Nobody does that. Nobody cares about Maryland football. But they care about this town, and they care about our town. And WTOP is so, so important. And, Neal, you are a big part of it because your reporting is splendid.
Oh, thank you, man. That's very kind of you to say. It's, as you know, we're lucky to be doing stuff that we love.
That you love. I mean, you get up every day and feel like $1 million.
Yep.
And you're going to work hard and you're going to do the right job. But, Neal Augenstein, I apologize for mispronouncing you. I mispronounced my own name, so I shouldn't really apologize. But it's been such a pleasure to meet you. We've met on other occasions, but I found out a lot of things about you that I'm so glad. You still live in the city? Are you are?
No, I'm now a Dulles in the Dulles area. But with a couple kids and wife, and I can't afford to live in the city. I can't afford to live in the city, Andy. I've got to get out where I can get more house for my money.
Well, you're smart. But you don't have to sleep in the city every day, do you?
Yeah, but I since I work at 5 in the morning, I got no traffic at 4 in the morning. Yeah.
And you cover a lot of stories where you don't have to report in, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah.
Very often. You've got your world with you, the iPhone.
Very often. Yeah, I mean, the news meeting is usually held right when I step out of the shower every morning when I call in the news director. I mean, sorry, the news editor who's on duty at that time, and he or she points me in the right direction, and that's I just take off, and that's where we go.
Neal, you're a lucky man to be here in our town in these times, and it's exciting, and you make it so. What was the young man we were talking about as the news producer, Jenny? Worked with us.
Mike Jakaitis.
Mike. Sure. Mike was one of our guys.
Jakaitis is the guy who I spoke with this morning at 4 in the morning, and we decide on what my story for the morning is.
He's got to be here for 20 years, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I think he got here before I did.
Well, Neal, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate personally what you do, and from my association with all the things I belong to, and you were big with our run of our rap meetings. You do a lot for our town, and we really appreciate it. And we appreciate WTOP for you.
My pleasure being here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Neal. Andy Ockershausen, this has been Our Town.
You've been listening to Our Town Season 4, presented by Geico, our hometown favorite, with your host, Andy Ockershausen. New Our Town episodes are released each Tuesday and Thursday. Drop us a line with your comments or suggestions. See us on Facebook or visit our website at OurTownDC.com. Our special thanks to Ken Hunter, our technical director, and WMAL Radio in Washington, D.C. And thanks to Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance.